Hello and welcome back to Modalities Movement Therapy. Today I want to start with a question. Are your feet shaped like your shoes? When your shoes are rigid, heavy, or don't move naturally with your feet, this limits the natural mobility of the ankle, reducing the range of motion in the calves, and in response, your nervous system may tighten the calf muscles as a protective mechanism to reduce the risk of injury. Over time, this can contribute to stiffness, discomfort, and less efficient movement. So I want to encourage you to walk barefoot wherever possible. This will strengthen the muscles of the feet, ankles, and calves, improving balance and mobility, which will help build resilience throughout the lower leg and the rest of the body, because what happens in the feet is going to affect what's going on in the rest of the body. And strong mobile feet provide a better foundation for movement, and this will reduce the risk of injury and muscle cramps. Remember, movement is key, and if you don't use it, well, you lose it. So for the workout, we're going to need one of these high density foam peanuts. If you don't have one of these, put 2 tennis balls inside a sock and securely fasten that sock, as well as this loop resistance band and some water. Let's start in standing and work into releasing the foot. So bend into the leg and you're going to push into the peanut and give it a good release. I want you to play around with the position of your foot on the peanut and really get into those areas that need to be released. Where I find the most effect is having the lateral side of the foot in the center and rolling the arch of the foot onto the one ball of the peanut. 4, 3, 2, and 1. From there, bring the ball of the foot onto the peanut. So your heel is resting on the mat and you're going to lift the toes already. So you're feeling the stretch into the calf, up the Achilles, and bring the other foot parallel. So widen the stance if you need to. Breathe in, looking ahead. On your exhalation, tuck your chin, roll down. And now you're going to bounce, and you're going to bounce around the leg, back to the center, and bounce around and back to the center. Bouncing is a great way to hydrate that fascia. Keep the toes lifted so you're feeling that stretch, and keep the knees straight. Breathe in, stacking the vertebra one on top of the other. Let's bring the peanut under the other foot, and again play around with the position of the foot on the peanut. If your shoes are pointy, they're rigid and stiff, then you're going to put too much weight into the front of the foot. Then you're going to start leaning the body forward. So what's happening in the foot is going to have an effect on what's going on in the rest of the body. So we really need to focus on spreading the weight out evenly in the feet, strengthening the toes, getting as much movement into the foot as you can. When you're ready, just drop the heel onto the mat, lift the ball of the foot, spread it out across the peanut, breathe yourself into that lifted position, get the toes up, increasing that stretch along the back line of the leg, breathing in, and increase that stretch as you roll down. And bounce. Bounce around towards that leg. Reach the hands around, bounce back to the center, and keep bouncing, dynamically moving instead of static stretching. We want to get movement into the fascia. We want to hydrate the fascia and plump it up. Let's come back to the center. When you're ready, breathe yourself into that lifted position. And uncurl. We're going to come onto the hands and knees. So just roll yourself down and leave the peanut on the mat. Breathe in. Exhale. And roll yourself down. Okay, we're going to bring one foot onto the peanut. I'm starting on my left side. And I'm going to roll that peanut up and down the shin. Bring the peanut onto the toes. So you're moving from the knee all the way to the toes. Keep going. 4 more. 3. Last 2. And 1. Release the peanut onto the foot or position the peanut onto the foot, but right around the toes. So I want you to feel the stretch all the way up the ankles. Come in onto your haunches. If you're taking strain in the knees, cushion the knees, so double up your mat. If you're still taking strain, then keep the legs at a 90-degree angle, and you're going to bounce the tailbone back towards the heel. So we're opening up in the pelvis, and like someone's punched you in the belly, I want you to tuck and round, so you're feeling the stretch along the quads. Breathe in and bounce. Take the tailbone as close to the heels as you can, if you can. Otherwise, you're tucking in a more lifted position. Breathing in and exhale. Bounce into that inhalation and exhale. Keep going. Let's do another 4 and exhale. And 3 and exhale. 2 more and exhale. And your last one and exhale. From there, we're going to reposition the peanut onto the hip flexor. So you're going to work below the hip bone, and the position of the peanut is here. So lower down onto the mat. Your other leg is going to come into a gecko position. Unless you're taking strain in the hip, then just keep the legs parallel. So lower onto the mat, position the peanut below the hip bone on that hip flexor. I'm on the left leg, so the right leg is coming into a gecko position. And I'm going to curl those left toes under and maneuver the peanut up and down using the ball of the foot. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now bending the knee, you're going to come onto the right hand, so you're rotating slightly, going to pulse the foot out. So loosening up around the hip flexor. If you're not feeling much, reposition the peanut until you do feel something. If we sit for long periods of time, these muscles are going to be tight. We want to lengthen and loosen them up as well, getting more movement here. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the foot, release the knees onto the mat. Now position the peanut still on the left side, or whichever side, so on the same side. You're going to roll along the forearm. Use the other hand to just add a little bit more weight into it, so you're getting a little bit deeper into that release. If you have got a little or a lot of strain around the wrist, focus on that area and then continue to move up the forearm. Four, 3, 2, and 1. Continuing along this side, I'm going to rotate away from the camera And I want you to bring the elbow onto the peanut. Use your other hand to support you on the mat. Stack your knees. Bring the elbow onto the peanut. Rotate your hands so you're keeping the shoulder nice and open and your ear is resting on your hand, on the palm of your hand. Let's roll along the triceps, along the back arm line. Open up as much as you can. Keep going, rolling. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rest the elbow on the mat. Reposition the peanut. So we're going to release the rotator cuff muscles. Drop your ear onto your arm. Position the peanut so it's just below the armpit. So at the base of the shoulder blade. Now you might need to reposition the peanut again. So shift it back slightly if you need to. And you're going to lift the elbow off the mat if you can. Use your top hand to hold onto the wrist and rotate back and forward. If it is quite intense, takes your breath away, I don't want you to compromise your breathing, so drop the elbow onto the mat and rotate backwards and forwards. So either lifted or resting on the mat. Keep going. You want that peanut on that rotator, on those rotator cuff muscles around the base of the shoulder blade. Continue moving forward and back. From here, we're going to now take the arm behind us. We're going to work up the forearm in line with the thumb. So you're going to reposition the peanut on the floor or the mat behind you and rotate your supporting hand. So if you see it from this angle, I'm going to roll up towards the elbow, stack the knees, or you can extend the top leg and keep the bottom leg bent and roll along from the thumb to that elbow. Do another 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to move on to the other side. So we're now going to take, if you were using the right side, the left side, you're going to move on to the right and continue to follow along with me. Let's roll along the front of the shin and over the foot. Let your breathing happen normally, naturally, breathing in and out through the nose. Four, 3, 2, and 1. From there, you're going to position the toes onto the peanut. And as mentioned before, angle yourself according to the knee, how much strain you can put in the knee. We want to lengthen these muscles. If the knees are tight, it might be because they have limited range of movements. So see if you can progress. Start off in this lifted position and then see if you can progress to bending a little bit more into this, increasing the stretch over the front of the knees. Double up the mat if you need to cushion the knees. We're going to open up in the pelvis, breathing in, bouncing into that stretch. On the exhale, tuck. And breathe in. And exhale. Here we go for 3. And exhale. Breathe in for 4. And exhale. 4 to go. And exhale. 3 more. exhale. For the last one, and exhale. Good, coming back onto the hands and knees, reposition the peanut onto the hip flexor below the hip bone. Your left leg in the gecko position or extended, your choice. Let's bring the peanut onto that leg. First, you can cross the ankle over if you want to, that's another option, or bring it into that gecko position. Open up more in the hip and just maneuver yourself forward and back with the ball of the foot. 4, 3, 2, and 1. From there, bend the knee. Let's open up as much as you can on that side. Come onto the other hand, so you're rotating slightly into that hip on the peanut, and pulse the foot away. For 8, 7, keep going. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Up onto the hands and knees, and position the peanut onto the forearm, and add a little bit of weight in with the other hand. Find the tension, release it, massage into it, work through it with your breathing. Ease yourself into the movement with your breath. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Moving on to the triceps. We're going to rotate the hand so your ears resting on your palm and your fingers are lined up with your neck. Let's roll along the triceps. Breathing in and exhaling. Keep going. 3, 2, and rest the elbow on the mat. Reposition the peanut onto the base of the shoulder blade and extend the arm. Let's rest the ear on the arm. Bend the elbow. Take the top hand onto the wrist. Those options again, so keeping the elbow on the mat or lift the elbow up using that top hand and rock back and forth. Breathing in and out. If you want to take it a little bit further, you can roll up and down the shoulder. Up and down the shoulder blade, should I say. And reposition the peanut if you need to. Rock back and forth. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the peanut back onto the forearm. So I'm just going to angle myself so you can see me, and then I'm going to roll with the thumb pointing down. So supporting hand points towards the peanut to make it a little bit easier, and then drop the shoulder down so you can roll along that forearm. Extend the top leg, bottom knee is bent, and roll. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rotate onto your back now. Position the peanut along the occiput ridge so it's in line with the ear lobes. maybe slightly higher than the earlobes. You've got a bony process, so we want the peanut on the bony process. You're going to need to hold onto the peanut with your thumb and your index fingers. Otherwise, the peanut is going to roll down the neck, and we want to keep it along the occiput ridge. And you're going to slide your head from side to side. So you're going to shear across the base of the skull on the peanut. Breathe into the release. Through the nose, you're exhaling and inhaling. From this position, just rock up to a seated position, and you're going to reposition the peanut on the rhomboids. The rhomboids are the muscles that retract the shoulder blades. So position the peanut on the mat, and then you're going to lower down onto that peanut. Feet flat, knees bent, and you're going to lower onto the peanut. So just watch where that peanut is. Now my peanut is a little bit low down, so it's below the shoulder blades. I'm just going to lift my tailbone and position the peanut slightly higher up. Now make sure the head is resting in the hands, so link the fingers, support the head. Breathe in. As you breathe in, you're arching, so you're opening up, creating space. You're going to breathe into the space, but at the same time, the peanut should be rolling up on either side of the spine. On your exhale, you're going to push the lower back into the mat, and then the peanut will roll down slightly. So arching as you open up, breathing in. Exhaling to your tuck. Keep going. Exhaling. Your feet should be light on the mat. You shouldn't be taking any strain or pushing into the feet at all. The lower back is where you want to focus on, and you want to focus on the exhalation, so you're coming into a concentric contraction. Keep the lower back pushing into the mat, and I want you to run your feet now. So I'm like raindrops, patter, patter on the mat. Drop the feet. Now we're ready to breathe in. So that should all be on the exhalation. Now you're opening up and you're breathing in. Exhale, push into the mat. You're still exhaling, and then you're going to run the feet. If this happens, then I don't want you to lift the feet off the mat. You keep that lower back pushing and just focus on exhaling. But if you can take it that little bit further, you run the feet. Second option is to pulse both feet up and down, but the lower back must stay in the mat to support it. Release the feet. Let's breathe in. Open yourself up. Exhale into the tuck. And pulse the feet. Drop the feet. Keep going. Breathing in. And exhale. And pulse. Breathing in. And exhale. And pulse. 4 more. And exhale. And pulse. Keep exhaling, exhaling, exhaling. When you can't exhale anymore, release the feet nice and controlled and breathe in. And exhale. Pulse. If the peanut starts to move too far up, just lift the tailbone and reposition it. Finish off with 2 more. Breathing in and exhale. And your last one. Breathing in and exhale. and pulse. Okay, hug the knees, rock up to a seated position. Bring that peanut onto one of the glutes. So it's going to be parallel to the spine, but slightly lower down. Hands behind you on the mat. And let's drop that knee and give the glutes some attention. If you have a sweet spot, you're going to hold it on that spot, bounce the knee down just to release any tension around the area. Keep going. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's release that peanut on that side, reposition it to the other side, and drop the knee. So you're working onto that lateral side. We're going to move onto our side and we're going to work these muscles along the lateral side and get movement into them. We often, when our feet are rigid and stiff, the calves are rigid and stiff, we often come into a compensation pattern. So let's try and get as much movement into the whole body as we can. 4, 3, 2, and 1. From there, continuing along the back of the legs, we're going to position the peanut at the Achilles tendon, so right down, sort of behind the ankle bones, but you can play around with the position and just drawing a circle with the toes. If you want to get a bit deeper, you can just lift up off the mat and you can just bring your foot on just to add a little bit more weight into that release. Change direction of the movement. Now don't move quickly. Try focus on a slow movement. Make the big movement bigger rather than faster. And a few times let's point and flex the toes. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, from there you're going to sit back on the mat. Bend your supporting leg. I'm now going to lift my buttock off the mat and rotate towards my supporting bent leg, and I'm going to lengthen from my hip. So imagine someone's pulling your toes away from you and you're lengthening out of the hip, right around that area, massaging up the calf and rotating. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's do the same thing to the other side. So start off with that peanut quite low down. If you want to position it slightly higher, go for it. Coming off the mat if you want to add a little bit more weight, and draw that circle. When you're ready, change direction. We do hear a lot of clicking and movement, or a little cracking perhaps. Sometimes that can just be a sign of tight fascia, some adhesions maybe that just need loosening up. So by moving, we're getting that fluid running through the joints, running through the body. Let's point and flex the toes. 4, 3, 2, and 1. From there, rotate towards that bent leg, and now lift the buttock off and extend out from the hip. Position the peanut if you need to. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Peanut to the side. Take that resistance band. Bring the band onto your big toes, and you're going to extend the feet out, pulsing the feet into that fan. So you're opening up You should feel the glutes activating as well. This is a great one for strengthening the arches of the feet. I think I have mentioned that a couple of times before, but this is a very good strengthening exercise. If you have a bunion, this can help open it up. And what I want you to be aware of is something that you can find on Amazon, Take-A-Lot, wherever in the world you are. It's called silicone toe spacers. These are amazing devices that can help open up the toes, spread the toes out, especially if you do have a bunion that you want to doctor. You want to open the feet as much as you can and strengthen into them. So use the silicone toe spacers for about 5 or 10 minutes a day to help open up the toes and get movement around the feet, around the toes, to strengthen these muscles when you're walking around barefoot. Release the band. We're going to use it again just now, but I want you to come into a side lying position. You're going to bend the bottom knee. We're going to extend the top leg in a minute. Bring the elbow underneath the shoulder. Take your peanut, and I want you to use the peanut and pretend this is a heavy weight. So it's up to you to create that resistance. From here, we're going to lift up off the hip, extend the arm next to the ear, and lengthen the leg out. So I want you to try not just tap the toe, but get the heel down. So you're lengthening more out of your hip. So when you see my position, lengthening out, dropping the heel, this is where we're breathing in. We're going to breathe into that lateral side. So open up, breathe into the space you're creating. Then you're going to drop the hip, bring the elbow to the knee, and you're breathing in and lengthening out. Exhale, drop. We're going to do 2 sets of 8 and 7. I'm a little bit bunged up. You focusing on the breathing. 4, 3, 2. Again, you're going to breathe in and out for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. From this position, we're going to rotate around onto the knees, and the same leg that was at the bottom, I'm going to bring in front. Take the peanut in the same hand as the leg that's in front, and we're going to rotate the upper body. We're going to take the opposite hand onto the mat, and we're going to reach. So I want you to think of rotating, and we're going to crunch into the waist. So we're going to exhale as we drop the hand onto the mat. So you're going to exhale, and I want you to feel the crunching in the oblique muscles in the waist. You're going to exhale and rotate. Breathe in and come up. Exhale and breathe in. Exhale and breathe in. So create that resistance, push away and inhale. Exhale, reach. Inhale, lift. Keep going. We're going to do another set of 8 and inhale. 7 and 6, 5, 4 more, and 3, last 2, and 1. Come back up. We're going to rotate to the other side and just repeat the same thing. So switch hands, breathe in if you haven't already, and you're going to take that hand onto the mat, and we're going to reach across, exhaling and rotating, breathing in and coming up. Exhale and inhale. So if you see it from this angle, you exhaling. And really focusing on that crunch as you rotate towards that knee. Exhale and inhale and lift up. One more set of 8. Reach and twist. Inhale, coming up for 7. And again, don't rush the movement. Focus on moving into the exhalation, breathing into the space you're creating. Another 4. And 3. Last 2. And 1 more. From this position, you're going to drop onto your side again. So switch hands, drop onto the elbow and the bottom knee. Just stack the legs to start. And let's bring that peanut in the hand, elbow to knee. So just lift up off the hip, bring the knee to the elbow. We're now going to breathe in. Drop the heel as you extend. Exhale, release. Breathing in and exhale. By slowing the movements down, focusing on the breathing, we can activate the core with the breath, help generate a little bit of heat as the core warms up. And you can really focus on activating, lengthening. Remember to move from breath, breathing in as you lengthen, exhale, release. Keep going, we've got 8 more. Breathe in and lengthen. 5 and 4. 2 and last 1. Lengthen. Push the hips up a little bit higher and release. Rock around onto your hands and knees. Have a quick drink of water and we're going to come up to standing. From this position, you can grab hold of the resistance band if you want. If you can, curling the toes under, push back into your squat position, and we're going to come up to standing. From this position, we're going to step forward. So I've got my right leg in. I'm going to step forward onto the ball of the right foot. I'm going to breathe in, push up, hold it in that lifted position, and step the right back onto the mat, drop the heels down. So breathe in as you come into that lengthened position. We can reach the arms up and bring the elbows. Let's bring the band onto the palms. Thumbs are pointing out, palms are pointing out, palms are pointing up. So we're going to breathe in, resist with the arms, bring the elbows back into the waist. Breathing in and exhale. Breathing in. So I really want you to focus on the feet for the balance. We're trying to strengthen these muscles, but use the arms as well. We want to focus not just on one muscle group, we want to focus on as many as we can. Keep going, breathing in and exhale. Breathing in and exhale. But if you're taking too much focus off the feet, using the arms, then just hold onto the band and focus on the feet. Another 2 and release, and 1 more and release. Good. Hold on to the band. We're going to come up into that lifted position, and you're just going to pulse the heels up and down, pushing up onto the balls of the feet and inhaling and exhaling. Keep going. 4 more. And 3, 2, and 1. Let's roll the ankles out and roll the ankles in. Roll the ankles out, roll the ankles in. Out and in. 4 and in. 3 and in. 2 and in. Last week I focused on the big toes and the little toes. Today I want to focus on each of the toes. So try, lift all the toes up off the mat, pushing into the balls of the feet, so don't let the ankles roll out and in. Now try, drop the little toes and then each of the toes onto, finish off with the big toes down. All the toes up, little toes, and then the rest of the toes, big toes last. A bit of a mental challenge. So try, work through the feet, lift the toes, little toes, and the other toes. Good. You'll see how much harder it is to stabilize yourself without the big toes on the mat. Lift, big toes down now, second toes, and then to the little toes. All up, big toes down. Try and individually drop those toes onto the mat. Lift up, big toes. Use your hands, second toes. Walk through the toes. Second, 1 and down. Lift, lower and down. We're now going to position the resistance band back onto the big toes, similar to what we did when we were in a seated position. Open up the feet, so keep the resistance in the band. I'm lifting the ball of the foot and I'm rotating out. So I'm fanning the feet out, spreading the toes out as much as possible, and open up, open up, open up. 4 more. Feel the glutes engaging, opening up in the hip. 2 and 1. Let's do the same to the other side, rotating for 2, 3. Keep going. 3, 2, and 1. Turning the feet out so you can bring the heels slightly closer together, keeping the resistance in the band. We're now going to lift and lower off the heels, so nice and slow and controlled. Breathing in as you come up and exhaling as you lower. So control the movement. Control as you slowly lower down. Breathing in and exhale. Breathing in and exhale. 4 more. Breathing in and exhale. And 3 and exhale. 2 more and exhale. For the last one, you're going to hold it in the lifted position. Now we're going to pulse the heels down for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and drop the heels down. Bring the feet slightly closer together. Reposition the band around the ankles. Now a stability exercise. So we're going to balance on one foot and we're going to lift and rotate the other leg around that foot. So lifting up and circle that leg around to the back. Take the arms out in line with the shoulders if you want to. That should help with your stability. Look ahead, think about a nice upright posture is going to help you with your balance. So keep focusing on a spot ahead of you. Lock that supporting knee. Pull up and lift through the core. Keep going. Another 4. And 3. 2. 2, and 1. Good. From there, you're going to step out to the other side and you're going to repeat the exercise. Circle the leg in front and you'll find one side quite different to the other. Spread the toes out. What happens in the foot is going to help with your stability. That big toe is a big part of our deep core line, and that's going to have an effect on your balance. Think about that big toe. We're going to do 4 more. And 3. Last 2. Finish off with 1 more. And release. Good. Release the band. Shake the legs out. Let's bring one knee up to the chest and just circle the foot and change direction. Do the same thing to the other side. Circle the foot. Whoops. Keep going and change direction. And then just walk through the feet. And a little bit of a bounce. Relax the arms at your sides. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shake it out. Take one arm across the body, rest the elbow in the hand, and just pulse into that rotation. Now you can be aware of what's happening in the foot. I want you to try keep that hip pushed back. Try not to let the knee drop in and the arch of the foot drop onto the mat. So keep the glutes engaged and pulse into that rotation. 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to take the elbow and just gently bounce a little bit further into that rotation. Let's take that same arm next to the ear and just lift up. You can bring the feet together and just bounce into that lateral stretch. Do the same thing to the other side. So take the feet apart, cradle the elbow in the hand. Feel what's happening in that leg. Lock the knee. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cradle the elbow, bend it, and just a smaller pulse into that rotation. And keeping the elbow bent, bring the feet together and a lateral bounce there. 4, 3, 2, 1. From there, you can just circle the arms down, across, sweep the fingers on the mat, and uncurl and open up. Breathing in and just rolling the shoulders up and back. And shake everything out. And we are done for the day. Well done, and thank you for joining me.